Hello, I'm David Carter. In this video I'll be showing you how you can use Excel pivot tables to analyze your sales. Now I'll be using this sales invoice Datamart. You have to imagine this Datamart's been extracted from your own accounts package, maybe use Sage or Microsoft Dynamics at your company. It contains every sales invoice you've issued over the last 3 months, and right now you want to analyze those 3 months sales using Excel. Now it contains over 4,000 records. It's a real one, taken from a real accounts package. So let's have a quick look at some of the fields it contains. Okay, we've got invoice number, date, account number, customer name, product part number, product description, standard details you'd expect to find printed on any sales invoice. So let's create our pivot table. I'm in Excel 2007, so I'll click on the Insert button, and OK. And I get a new worksheet with the pivot table field list to the right. Okay, now the top half we have a list of available fields, and can you see these are the same as the column headings we saw a moment ago in our Datamart. And in the bottom half we have 4 boxes. And which field you drop into which box determines the layout of your pivot table. I'll show you what I mean. I'll start by taking the net sales value field and dropping it into the values box. Okay, so Excel has totaled those 4,000 records, and it tells us that the total value of our net sales was 5,442,000 during the 3 months. All right, I'm now going to drop the cost name field into another box. And this time, look at the bottom, it's still 5.4 million, but this time Excel has broken that figure down into the sales made to my individual customers. All right, I see my sales broken down by product, so take out customer name and replace it with product group. And this time the sales are broken down by product type. I just want to make that screen a little bit larger. Okay, now let's explain about these product groups. I mentioned this is a real company, and in the IT business they sell computer hardware and equipment. All right, so currently it's in alphabetical order, communications, internet at the top. I'd like to see my top sellers, so that's easy. I just click on the total column and I move up to the ZA icon and click, and I see my top selling items. Product groups are PCs and services. For this demo I'm quite happy to be in alphabetical order, so I just hit the undo button and that brings me back to alphabetical. Now remember I said our Datamart covers all our invoices for 3 months from April to June. Now this shows grand total only, and I'd like to see the sales broken down by month. Now to do this I simply take the date field and I drop this into another box, the column box this time. And what we see is that Excel has broken down the sales for each individual date during the 3-month period, which is not terribly useful, so I'll use the group function to summarize that. So if I right click on the date button to bring up the pivot table menu, and I go down to group, and can you see Excel allows me to summarize by month, by quarter, by year. I want to do it by month, so I'll just accept that because it's default. And here we are, we have the sales now broken down into the individual months. I'm just going to tidy up those column headings, center them, make a bit of color. Now so far we've seen sales for all products or for all customers, but now I want to see the sales of all products for just one customer. Easily done, so call up the field list, and this time I'm going to put customer name into the report box, so we're using all 4 boxes now. And the pivot table itself doesn't change, but can you see up in A1 and B1 we have customer name field, and in B1 this down arrow, if I click on it we have a list of all my customers. So if I click on Anglo-American, the first one, Excel just shows me the total of my sales, but simply to Anglo-American. Same way, if I choose British Petroleum, only my sales to British Petroleum. Now my biggest customer is Safeway, so I'm going to go and look at the Safeway sales figures. Now can we see at the bottom right here, 1.5 million, so well over a quarter of all my sales are Safeway. So right, now looking at these, if I look at comms at the top, 1,708, 1,000, in May 10,000, so big increase. Now I'd like to know, well, why? Why the big increase? Now to find that out I need to go down to individual product level, so I'm going to add that extra field, the product field, to this pivot table. So I'll call up the pivot table field list, and up here I've got product part number, product description. If I take the product description, I'm going to drop it down beneath product group. Now, so you see it's not just confined to one field in one box, and this gives you an inkling of the power of these pivot tables. And when you get good at putting the right fields in the right boxes, you can produce pretty well any report you want. And they've been sitting there in Excel on your desktop all this time and you never realized it. Anyway, so I'm just going to put some color into this subtotal here. Right, now what we said was that on comms we had made sales in April of 1,700, and in May it was 10,000, June 1,000. That 10,000 figure. So if we now have the individual products we sold in the month. So if I work my way up, we can see, this is £8,000 order of AT&T Paradigm modems. That explains the big jump in May. Okay, now I'm going to go back to summary mode now. If I right click on product group, bring up the pivot table menu, and now I choose expand, collapse, and collapse. Now we're back to where we were before with just one row for each product group, but against each product group we now have a little cross, and this indicates that you can drill down on this field to see further detail. So if I want to look at my comms in more detail, I double click and it shows me the individual products I bought within the comms product group. And to go back up again, I just click and close it. Now I can say, I don't know, look at monitors, for example. Same thing, just click, and I see all the individual monitors I've sold within the monitor product group. And this is the great benefit of screen-based reporting as opposed to paper, because we have over 4,000 records here and we're viewing them at item level. Now if I printed this out on a paper report, we could end up with 60 or 70 pages of printout. But with screen-based reporting, I can summarize a vast number of records into one single screen display, and then I can drill down from any summary number to check the individual detail and then come back up again. And of course you just cannot do this with paper reports. Okay, so that finishes our first session. We've analyzed our sales by customer, by product group, by products for a single customer, analyzed by month. We've seen our top sellers. We've seen the enormous power of pivot tables. But of course, so far we've only seen sales. And in the real world, while sales are obviously important, the key element is profitable sales. In other words, the gross profit or margin you've earned on those sales. And if you offer discounts to your customers or you offer special prices on the same product to different customers, seeing just the sales figures alone doesn't give you the full story. Now this certainly applied to our IT reseller, as you can see if you look at our second video, which shows you how to use Excel pivot tables to analyze the margins you're making on these sales.